Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the
Everybody
procedure,
stay
everyone?
calm.
What's the procedure?
Stay calm!
Wait.
Everybody just calm down!
Help!
Here,
Oh,
take my hand.
ah!
Come on. You're gonna fall unless you take my hand.
No, give me your other hand.
Oh, my other hand isn't strong enough. You take my little hand.
No, get it away from me!
Take it. Take my hand.
Good morning, everybody. A little late this morning. I had a Christmas party, work function last night, and I went a little late, a little later than I would have liked. So a little croaky this morning, but ready to go. Promises made, promises kept. I did say I would do my draw stream, and here I am. So hello. Got a few people here in the chat already. Sumo Thori came in first. He gets the honor. If I can find that. Where is it? There it is. Up to 6 for the year. Welcome, Sumo. We got, look at this. The man himself, Mr. Eric Weathers, lurking. The parentheses there. Gary G says, nice bow and arrow. Thank you, sir. Yes. I've got, I didn't show you guys earlier. I got actually 6 Artemises on that card, which means they're going to print very small. But, you know, I've been looking at other cards. I got a whole bunch here. Other cards from other creators. Look at this Cyberfrog one. There's tons of detail in here. It came out great. What else you got? Look at this. Look at this. Speaking of Eric Weathers, Battle Brick Road card. I think they're going to be fine. I think it's going to be great. We'll see. We'll see if this crazy idea pans out. Hail to Mo Biggs, the Golden Wrench himself. What's up, Mo? Man, we got so many gifted memberships yesterday. 45. Not one of them. No bigs. One. I know, Croaky the Bogan. I feel like I should do some Palpatine impersonations. I haven't even had a tea yet. Everything is proceeding according. Nah, it's still a bit too high. Courtney in the house. What's up, Courtney? Courtney is a big fan of the fact that I'm a rollerblader, and I always keep my blades somewhat within arm's length. What's up, Jim? It's great to see Jim here. That was Rob's anatomically correct forehead. Yes, that was when I think Rob drew that, and it started a cascade of people drawing my abnormally large phareal region. And we made a video on it. It was great. Bancroft had a work party with office gals, itty bitty titties, and a bob. No comment. But let me think. I think there were about 16 people there, and I was the one guy. So yeah, there was a lot of, lady talking. But I'm used to it now. There's Sumo. He's back in the chat. Have a cup of tea, Bancroft. We're not barbarians. It's a bit hot. I drink out of my thermos. I don't know if you can. It's steaming. You can see the condensation. I'll have to wait. Till it stops steaming. Stat in the house says, I'm going to look. Nobody tell Bancroft. Hey, Stat, are you doing the chit on Saturdays now? Because if you are, I can sort of shuffle around my Rising Tide show that I started, that I thought I would do on Saturdays. What does Mo say? How to know one in particular? Don't research further, Bancroft. What? What's going on? Did I? Oh, that was it's a sumo, right? I see. Did I say hi to Henry Bemis? I hope I did. Stat said the chit was potentially. Yeah, he's saying that every time though. Every time. All right, I'm going to do some what do we call it? Cell shading. Actually, I'm going to have to. I want to figure out some of these colors because they're a bit off. I like to make them a bit darker. Pump it up a bit. Maybe not that dark. Although he is from Turkey. It is sunny up there, I'm led to believe. Once you put in the highlights, then things that look too dark look fine. But we'll see how we go. I'm just going to eyeball it. The white should not be white. What's up, Raiden? What does that say? It isn't consistent. We're doing a Christmas episode this weekend and then maybe a couple of weeks off. All right. Well, if you're not going to do it consistently, then I won't worry about it. Because I like watching it. I like hanging out with you dudes and lady. Not ladies anymore, sadly. But we make do. You're a good you put on a good show. Very low key, which I think is what I like. And I like watching you draw the cartooning. And I don't know if you answered me. I asked you if you are going to do a book of that, or I don't know. What do you do with comic strips these days? I used to love. That's probably my first interaction ever with anything comic-y. I mean, not like a comic book, but it was a book of strips, Peanuts and Garfield. That's probably like the first thing I ever read, and I loved them. I read them, 50 times each. I had a whole library of them. Great. Alrighty. Okay, this is starting to look a bit better. I'll try to do the chit once a week, even though it's terrible for myself. Doctors say I should chit daily. Bancroft to shadow band Indiegogo. I'm trying to start making, you know what? I saw Tyler, he said, I want to do just like videos where I turn on the camera and just talk about something. And I thought, yeah, that's a good idea, because everything else I make in terms of the shorts are very kind of, you know, I read a comic, I write a little, I mean, I write a little script. It's like a paragraph, but it is, you know, something that I read. And then, you know, I get the images and I edit it together, and it's a whole thing. It takes you about an hour and a half, all in all, depending on how long the comic is that I have to read. And it's a whole production. But it would be good if I could just make a video as well, you know, where I just talk. And so I thought, you know, well, let's all start doing. So I thought, oh, what am I going to talk about? You know, just stuff I'm thinking about or whatever. And that was one of them. I mean, it's kind of a moot point for me, because my last campaign on Indiegogo did next to nothing. It was like, I don't know, $2,000 or something, because everyone followed me onto my site. So it doesn't really, for me, it doesn't really matter, but it's an interesting topic, because Indiegogo, in my mind, is really, I mean, jumped the shark, lost the plot. And like I said in the video, if that's the only place people put up their books, I'll still back them there, but I'm not going to put my own books up there anymore. Stat says, I got 50 pages done and could be printed in the vault, Bancroft. One day I'll release them as a daily to see how they land. I think that's a fun thing to do. Granted, I don't know anything about I don't know anything about your character or what it is or what he does. Is it a comedy? Is it a sat? Like, does it do like social commentary, or is it just sort of daily observations of life? I don't know. But I could find out. What's up, Crenshaw? What's up, Phil? It is, would it be how it do, says Mo. Wise words. This is too light, whatever this is. This clasp. Lighten up his hair a bit, just a touch. Have you tried to liven the color with a nice ecru? What is ecru? Making me look things up. It's a light fawn color of unbleached linen. I think that's kind of what this guy over here, the sort of Middle Ages, the medieval guy, is wearing for his whatever this is, his man dress. I spared no expense researching these outfits, as you can clearly tell. How about we'll make this a nice ecru. There we go. I think that's about it. Thank you for introducing me to a new word. These all look like Michael, shaven and bearded. I have had a beard not quite like this once, but I didn't have the long hair to go with it. Stat says, Stat's a self-important failed actor looking for a job, invests some AI to help him and tries to kill him. Well, that's how the strip starts. That sounds very random, which could work. I like the art. I like the way you draw. It's fun. People always think the medieval period is very drab, but apparently it was actually very colored. It was colorful. So I'll try and reflect that a little bit. And yeah, it's all good. Whoa, it's a bit something. Let's knock that back a bit. So as we see here, the Roman era, I'm thinking, I don't know, 200 to 300 maybe. Celtic, sort of more 700 to 800. This is sort of 1200 maybe. I mean, I don't really know. Just don't ask. Don't get Michael Odin in on this. He will pull me up on things. This is sort of more Renaissance era. What's that? 1600s? 14? Actually, no, not 14 is 2. 14 is like late medieval. This would be what? 17 to 1800s and then 20th century. Throughout the years, Bancroft trying to reflect the full gamut of colors in a society. That'll be the day. But he says, I like your colors. Brown, red, green, brown. Well, people wear a lot of brown. It's not my fault. Actually, this should be more gold. Sort of going a bit overboard there. A bit more yellow. There's blue. So, Reese. And this is more of a navy blue. We don't want him looking garish for the king. Whatever. These milky duds. I know what you would call these things. Actually, I wonder. I have to look that. Now, I think those are supposed to be white buttons. I had a bunch of people in browsers I was looking at. All right. That needs to go different color. Darken that up. Good. What's going on here? What is that? He has alopecia. Right. Hand turkey color palette. What does that mean? Stat says Milky Duds is one of their names, I can bet. This is all the same man. Now, you may not be aware of this. Here's a little history lesson. This color was invented by the army. This sort of khaki drab. I think even the word drab was a military term for the colors that they wore in the, I think, World War One. I do believe. I think that's how it came about. He's actually pretty good. Don't need to adjust much of him. Which army? What's going on here? You know, armies. I don't know. I'm not a history teacher, although I am a student of history. What is this? Where is this? It's here. Oh, it's an. I don't know what this is. Oh, there. Okay, there we go. What's up, Shadow Punk? Most says Bancroft is Australian. They don't have what Bancroft would probably call Yanksgiving. No, we don't. And I don't call it Yanksgiving. My father would call it Yanksgiving. But I don't. You growing up, he's like, oh, these bloody Yankees and their Yankee shows. He refused to watch for so long. He refused to watch any American sort of, sitcoms used to be massive. And he refused to watch any of them because it was all Yankee bullshit. But even good ones like The Simpsons or Seinfeld just flat out refused. Alrighty, let's do some highlighting. Shadow says, I admire your dad already. We used to have, I think we still do, we have a law here that says a percentage of content on free-to-air Australian television has to be from made in Australia, which caused a lot of shows to be made. And I think they, a lot of them got made with grants. And we had some good shows back in the day. I haven't watched any in a very long time. I don't watch free-to-air anymore. Haven't in a while. What's up, K-pop? Hello, Michael Deitcher. The man with the name that nobody can pronounce for some reason. I try to educate everyone, but no one listens to me. Somehow they have this idea that I just make up name accents, out of the blue. Kind of make fun of them. I don't know where they've gotten that from. Outrageous slander. We've all seen Bancroft's hands. I can understand the confusion, says Sumo. I think I did. This hand is probably the worst hand of the bunch. It's a little weird. Maybe I could, I don't know. I mean, they're all quite small. As long as I like that one. Did well with that one, I think. As long as I'm drawing them quite small, easy peasy. That one's pretty good. The US was the first to use olive drab, says Sleeping Psychopathy. There you go. Told you. I read it somewhere. I'm not making this up. I work with colors in my day job. I should know these things. Mo says, I'm curious what Bancroft would make of Small Wonder. What is Small Wonder? I haven't heard of that. I feel like the guy asking, what is Big Chungus? I don't even own a PlayStation. Courtney says, all right, a hand turkey. So a hand turkey in the US is when they trace your hand in school, cut it out of brown paper, and decorate it to make it look like a turkey. All right. All right. Okay, Mo says, yeah, little kids would make a hand print. Make a hand. No, we don't. I mean, we cut our hands out with paper. That's a thing. But I've never made a turkey out of it. We wouldn't think to do that. I'm pretty sure we have turkeys here, but it's not like they're everywhere, I was in Tampa. I would see turkeys on the side of the road just walking around. I guess they were wild. Is it like a wild turkey? I mean, they would have had to be. They weren't on any farm or anything. Oh, Henry lamented that I'd missed out on the classic shows like Small Wonder. Right. Is that an Australian show? I have not heard of it. Wild turkey was my grandpa's drink of choice, says Eric Weathers. I don't even remember what wild turkey is. Is that a bourbon? Sounds like a bourbon. It's been a while. When I think of wild turkey now, it's usually they come in mixes, you know, like pre-made Coke mixes. How's your book coming along, Eric? Because your campaign is the campaign proper is done now. I believe you did the closeout. So, what are we talking? Courtney says, I taught elementary school. I still think theirs the coolest. There's such a thing in Australia called a bush turkey. I assume it's a distant relation to the feral bush pig. Yeah, I think it's it doesn't look like those cool gobbling turkeys you have in the States. It's just like a turkey-esque bird. I don't even think it's that big. Past Master Dan in the house. What's up, Dan? He says Australia has plenty of deadly spiders. No need to make more. Actually, we don't. We have deadly snakes. We have a couple of deadly spiders, but I don't think anyone has died from them for a very long time. Whereas snakes do kill, and we do have a lot of them. But I mean, stay out of the long grass. You should be pretty safe. Eric says, waiting for colors to wrap. Farah is on them right now. The bane of every comic book production team, the colors. Being my own colorist, I can only get mad at myself. Wild turkey is forget water 100 proof, says Terror movie trailers. I do not understand what that means, but thank you for the input. Thank you for being here. It's good to have you hanging out. I don't know. Have we seen Terror movie trailers before? If we haven't, welcome. If we have, I apologize for ignoring you previously. I do my best, but you know. There's a snake in Vietnam. Our soldiers called the step and a half because that's how many snakes you took before you collapsed. Yeah, we have snakes like that too. Luckily, they kind of keep to themselves. You see them, but I don't know how common bites are. I mean, I'm sure it happens, especially out on farms and stuff. We do like selling out how dangerous Australia is to internationals. It kind of keeps the invaders out, you know. I've heard that Australia and Southeast Asia have similar fauna. There's some crossover, some, but Australia is pretty unique. Actually, it's more closely related, I think, to New Zealand, although New Zealand has its own as well. But I think the whatever it is, the land bridge ended somewhere between 60 and 120 odd thousand years ago. So that's why you get so many unusual marsupials here. You do have marsupials in Southeast Asia as well, but they're slightly different. Say marsupial again, please. Why do you say it? How do you guys say it? Do I say it strangely? I think I do. I say a lot. I say a lot of things strangely, even in Australia, even for Australians. I'm one of the rare holdouts of the word forehead, which is actually a British, like a Northern English pronunciation that has somehow stuck around with me. But yeah, we say it with an R where there's an R. Oh, marsupial. Yeah, no, you don't need that. Why do that? Mate, marsupial. You Americans and your R's, you go overboard, you know? It's too much. Gumnut is awesome. Spouse wasn't just gumnut is awesome. Well, that you remember that tree that fell down in our front yard a couple of months ago because of the winds? That was a paperbark eucalyptus tree, and it has tiny little gum nuts, like the size of a bead that young teenage girls might put on their bracelets or whatever. And under that tree, the grass is just, I mean, it is the worst grass you could ever imagine. It's like desert grass because whatever's in these little gum nuts, obviously it seeps in and the grass doesn't like it. Anyway, since the tree fell down, it spread this whole array of gum nut, these tiny little gum nuts all over our front yard. And sort of embedded in there. And we have this tree-shaped dead area of desert brown dusty grass in our front yard because of these bloody gum nuts. So, yeah. Mo says the Brits tried to keep it afloat and the superfluous used, but the English need those hard R's. Yeah, it worked out well for us. And there's no Australian or Brit ever just slipped out a hard R. It's not a thing. You have to contort your natural speaking patterns to get a hard R in anywhere. Not that I would want to, obviously. It's not my thing. I'll leave that to other spicier folks. Yet somehow you put a hard R in no. No, we don't put a hard R. We have a diphthong, which is multiple vowels sort of stitched together. And I don't think I really do that, but a lot of people do. No, no, you know, no. I don't know. It's hard to do. It's hard to do when you're trying to do it. Crenshaw says, I get the hard R in all the time. Yeah, Americans love the hard R. They're all about it. Except if you're from Boston, I think it's in Boston, somewhere like that. Talk like or where was JFK from? He wasn't a hard R man. Massachusetts. Is that's not normal for them though, is it? To speak like that. I mean, he has a very unusual he had a very unusual accent, I should say. But back in the day, people used to affect that weird, what was it, transatlantic fake accent. I wish that was still a thing. I do love that accent. We have the same thing here in Australia. It's called Australian. I think it's received pronunciation, but something like that. Like Kate Blanchett or Jeffrey Rush. People who sound British but also Australian. Depends on your social class. Yeah. Or education. Courtney loved living in Boston. All I know about Boston, I've learned from Good Will Hunting. That's it. It looked very drab and run down, and except for the university area. But even then, it still kind of looked, I don't know. And yeah, that's what my entire understanding of Boston is. Oh no, there's Boston Legal as well. The legal district, the little shenanigans that went on there. Denny Crane. that's all I know. So if there's anything else going on in Boston, I don't know about it. I like that effect I'm doing. I'll do that a bit more. Boston is a super nice city. Is the transatlantic the same as the continental accent? Don't know. So you're the one who watched Boston Legal. What do you mean? Everyone watched Boston Legal. Boston Legal was great. James Spader, Shatner, a cavalcade of colorful characters. It did get kind of ridiculous at one point, I remember. More so. Michael says, Boston is a cool city, but I hated driving there. And Iodine says, been to Boston once, but was only around the hotel conference center, the waterfront. Shatner. Yeah, William Shatner. Denny Crane. That show was actually quite good because it predicted a lot of the crazy sort of PC madness, but it actually had an answer for it. You know, Denny Crane was a full-on, you know, like man's man from a different era. The grid of Philadelphia allows the free flow of fentanyl, says Ronan. Oh, that's too bad. Hopefully Trump will clean all that up, because that's some scary stuff. It reminds me a little bit of, remember in the 90s, the heroin epidemic? You'd have smackies everywhere. Just like, you'd be like, ooh, brother. It was so bad, everyone was just terrified of any drug because it might lead to heroin addiction. That's what fentanyl looks like to me. I don't even know if we have it here. They might do. I don't know. I haven't heard of it. Raiden says, my hometown is hopeless. What's your hometown? I don't know. I mean, look at what that dude in, where is it? Who's the guy? I don't know how to pronounce his name because it's South American. You know me. Like he's the guy, is it Argentina? Where they're deficit free for the first time in 127 years. It only took him a couple of years to turn it around. And it's all stuff that they've done in the past. Smackies, lol. Yeah, that's what we called them. Heroin addicts were called smackies because they did smack. That's what they called it, not me. I'm the least drug involved person I've ever known. And it was all around me growing up. And I was just like, nah. I don't know. I'm unpeer pressionable. And I've had, like, it's gotten people angry in the past at me. It's like, just take it. What's your problem? Nah. I enjoy that I make you angry by not taking it. Javier Milei. Javier Milei. Yeah, deficit free. And they were a bloody lost cause at one point. It's because there's no crack in Australia. Maybe. I don't know. We have a lot of meth. Is meth ice? Everything here is expensive, though. I watched this guy Spanian I was telling Jake about, and you know he obviously, like, you know, wants to know what sort of drugs are going around and everything. He's like, who can afford to be a heroin addict these days? It's like a $300 a day habit. Where are you going to get that kind of money? Being a drug addict. Amanda, you did miss the New England talk. Is there any insights you want to give to the you might have about the magical kingdom of New England? Amanda lives up in the fairy tale kingdom of Andalasia. with the deers and the squirrels and the doves. It's okay. Stealing and whoring to support the habit. That's something that actually shocks people when they come here, that prostitution is legal in Australia. Of all the things, everything else is illegal. You can't have an opinion. You can't do all sorts of stuff, but you can whore yourself out. That's legal. And it was amazing during the lockdown. One of the places that you could go to legally was a brothel to potentially exchange bodily fluids. But you can do it on the street too. You can just stand on a corner. Which is always an interesting sight to see on your daily commute. Courtney, stop making travel plans to Australia. Amanda says, I have driven myself around Boston once. Everyone else has driven before for a reason. I got into a minor accident when I drove, not with another car, driven through a handful of times. It's overwhelming there, as in sort of big city kind of overwhelming. Hustle and bustle. Is that what you mean? I was just thinking earlier, I'm quite proud of the amount of work I've done on these trading cards. In a matter of 2 months, I've done up 11 sort of pin-up style fronts. And I'm about 5 into the back. And all the backs are basically like a comic book page. I've done about 5 of them. Got about 6 left to go. I think I've been quite productive lately. Give myself a pat on the old shoulder. Amanda says, nothing makes sense. Everyone is in a hurry. You're waiting to pull into a traffic circle with lots of cars, and there's horns of impatient people. We have the impatient drivers here too. It's crazy. You're standing at the lights, and you don't even have time to get the car moving before someone is like, or, Yeah. Everyone's got somewhere to be. You have to be there right now. When you're not used to it, when you've sort of been out of it for a while, either in the suburbs or smaller towns, it's full on. Not for me. It's very rare to hear a car horn where I live. Well, where I live as well, but I live in Melbourne suburbia. A very quiet Melbourne suburb. We don't have a train line or anything. So it's good. Not huge, but a small town. I could definitely live in a small town in the States. Even in the States, a small town usually isn't that far away from another town, if need be, or a bigger town. It's like that in France as well. We do have small towns here in Australia, obviously. They're usually quite far away from everything else, and they're not even that much cheaper to live in. In fact, you end up paying other expenses anyway, and it makes it just as expensive to live in a small town that it does, in a more populated place. K Manifesto says, my city is about 70,000, live near a city of 1 million. I think there's 5 or 4 million in Melbourne. We're all very spread out across a very large area. But it is starting to become denser, especially in the inner city. Amanda says, the stadiums are places I have yet to visit, but would love at some point, Courtney. The stadiums in Boston? Oh, Fenway Park area. Right. Yeah, that's cool. I don't like baseball, but I love baseball movies. Love them. Any sport movie, actually, I love. Baseball movies are better than baseball because they edit out the boring parts. Well, and they also add in a lot of theater, a lot of this is like the best game ever kind of stuff. And then the drama of whatever's happening. Yeah, it's great. They should do that with cricket, actually, because cricket is similar to baseball, but even more boring. It's like you can have a cricket game that lasts for 5 days where nothing happens for 5 days. And then in the last half an hour, it's all, there's the drama. And that might not even happen. It might just be, 3 days in, it's like, well, this is like a done deal almost, pretty much. Iodine says baseball is more of a pastime. Mo says cricket is baseball's gay cousin. Surely cricket was invented first. Cricket is very old. It is really old. And it kind of looks it. And people love it. Especially the Indians. Oh my God. I love their cricket. Creative WM. What's up? What's up, Katie? Cranberry Langes. 'Boring plus. Courtney says they have a very short documentary on Netflix right now about a YouTuber called The Turnaround. Highly recommended. It's about a mental illness and baseball, basically, but he's a fave creator of mine. All right, check it out. The Turnaround. Planet Toba, what's up, buddy? You got to know what a crumpet is to understand cricket. You kind of do. Yeah, cricket is the sport where they have tea breaks where everyone stands around and has tea. They stop if it starts raining too much, even a little actually. What else do they do in cricket? They have the strangest terms that sound kind of rude. I can't even remember them. Silly wicket and weird terms. What's up, Oz? Henry says, I can't stand basketball, but I love the movie. How do you pronounce that? Hoosiers? Hoosiers? I don't know how to say that. Hoosiers? I don't watch basketball, but I like the athleticism of it. I watch highlights, I'll like watch the best of the big players, Jordan and Shaq and Kobe Bryant and that sort of stuff. That actually that documentary on Netflix was really good. That sort of stuff. But yeah. Hoosiers. Hoosiers. Okay. What is that? Courtney loves basketball. I like it's very quick. Back and forth, back and forth. Hoosiers is good even if you hate basketball. I don't hate basketball. I'm not into it. I wouldn't just watch it recreationally. But there's something about baseball movies that are just really, I mean, they're the best out of all the different sports movies. Baseball movies are the best, hands down. The Natural. What's the one with Kevin Costner? If you build it. The Moneyball, that was a great one. Oh, boxing movies. Oh, now they're good. Yes, Bull Durham. Was the Rookie? Was that baseball? Boxing movies are good too. Cinderella Man. Oh, that was great. Cinderella Man. That's when I used to just go to the movies, just to see a movie. I'm like, oh, I'll go see a Russell Crowe movie. What's on? I don't know. We'll just go see this, and then it's either good or it isn't. Doesn't matter. Don't do that anymore at all. Rookie was baseball. Yes, that's what I thought. Quaid, where he was good, but he hurt it. Was that it? And he came back and he was kind of, it was sort of like a bit like The Natural, but set in a modern time, sort of. Basketball. Now, there's a classic. I haven't seen basketball in 25 years, I don't think. Stat says boxing movies might be my favorite sports movies. I watched all the Rockies not that long ago, maybe a couple of years ago, and I remember Rocky 4. It has about 20 minutes of movie, and the entire rest is montage. It's just montages. It's hilarious, but it works somehow. And even the end fight, almost all of the end fight is a montage. It's great. Somehow it works. Did I see When We Were Kings? No. Is that a movie or a documentary? Cinderella Man, Mo says, was Bancroft's old nickname. He changed it to Stab McGee, and that movie of the same name came out after that movie, the same name. Right. I saw Balboa in Wellington. While I was over there for a X-Air competition, and when you're competing, oh my god, that movie, that scene with that monologue, I had to go back. I watched it twice, and I very rarely ever do that in a movie. I went back and watched it again in the cinema just to see that scene. It was so good. I still watch it. That's what cowards do, and that ain't you. You're better than that. I never saw the fifth one. People say it's terrible. I don't want to mar my image of Rocky. How about Talladega Nights, the Ballad of Ricky Bobby? Shake and bake. Love it. Rookie was the high school coach, right? I can't remember, but I remember it was, Quaid. What's his name? Randy Quaid? I don't know. He's older. And he goes and they do an open tryout. It's sort of like a gimmick. And he goes there and he actually can throw really fast. Dennis Quaid. Who's Randy Quaid? Is that of someone? Camel says, I hope we're not talking comics in here. What a terrible idea that would be. We're not, Camel. Not at the moment. We've been just randomly jumping from topic to topic. But it could at any moment. At the drop of a hat, we could talk about any one of the amazing comics I've been reading lately. Don't let anyone tell you there's no good comics out there. There's actually too many to read for one person. And I want to thank everyone who's actually been recommending them to me, because everyone that has been recommended to me has been good. There's only one comic that I thought the art looked kind of cool, and I'll check this one out. And I was like, no, not for me. It was very it was like, you really get 5 pages at the start of a comic. Randy is his brother. Is Randy the one with the big crazy beard now? Anyway, you get like 5 pages, I think, at the start of a comic to sort of sell the concept. So which is why it's usually kind of good to have mystery or intrigue or in media res and just sort of jump right into the action or whatever. And then you can, after that, you can sort of slow down and start world building. But this comic, my God, it just like started off boring. And then I was like, okay, I did like, 4 or 5 pages and it was just like, okay. And then I started flicking forward to see, does anything happen? And then it was nothing happened in the whole first issue. I was like, oh, it looked good, but nothing happened. It's very much one of those sort of weird slice of life kind of deals, but it was set in an unusual place, so I thought it kind of looked pretty cool. But then it was just like, oh, what? Imagine if you make a really cool universe, and then you just have everyone sort of sit around and talk about their lives or whatever. Randy hates Rupert Murdoch. Yeah, I see it. He does like rant videos and stuff. Kevin Fester says, I'm reading The Winter Men. All right, let me add that. See if I can find that. If anyone ever just sort of mentions a book, I'll note it down. Check out later. Imagine you made a fantasy space comic, says Camel, and the first 5 pages are creatures sitting around a space station drinking space coffee. That was pretty much what I was reading. They weren't sitting around drinking coffee, but they were just sort of like milling about their day. Their regular day in whatever this weird universe is. I mean, I'm sure there was some kind of inciting incident at some point, but you got about 5 pages, I think. If it hasn't hooked you by then, I don't know. Iodine says, as long as they're talking about their microaggressions and triggers, it's perfect. And Camel says, and eating pancakes. But yeah, it's actually been very impressive doing this. There's a lot of really impressive books out there. It's a good thing, I think, even though it takes a little bit of time out of your day. I think if you're making comics, it's probably a good idea. I mean, I've been slacking for too long to actually sort of read what really good people are doing out there in their comics. So you can objectively sort of judge yourself against the best, essentially. And you might learn something. So. Plus, I like actually knowing something. I don't know anything about DC at all. And what I know of Marvel is decades out of date. So I don't know anything. And everyone's talking about stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I don't really know what that is. I want to know things. I want to be hip. You know, I'm hip. I'm cool. I want to be hip, so I'll read indie comic books. That's hip, isn't it? That's punk rock. What are you guys talking about? The Battle Wars. I have no idea. Pancakes versus waffles. Oh, pancakes. I don't even really like waffles. Maybe I'm not having any good ones, but pancakes any day of the week for me. If I had to choose, I don't eat pancakes that often. Sumo disagrees. He says waffles all day, every day. Do you guys have pikelets? Is that a thing? I grew up eating pikelets, which are like mini pancakes, about that big. But I haven't seen them in forever, and I don't know if that's just because I grew up and maybe it was like a kid's thing. Crepes are better than both. Well, Mel does make crepes and pancakes. Actually, she doesn't. I mean, she does make waffles too, but I think it's like out of a thing. I don't know. Actually, I don't know. I don't eat them, but I do eat her crepes, and they are delicious. Pikelets are the gayest thing, but you know what they are, Rob? Yeah. I think they're just for kids, though. I don't know. I don't really see. But it sounds like a British thing, pikelet. You know, like crumpet, pikelet. Glacier says, I should make a game show with Robblecopter, Stabby and Robblecopter. Add to the repertoire. I would do that. It sounds like it could be a lot of work, though. I actually thought about that, and I've actually sort of brainstormed with a couple of people over the years what that might look like, because it just does sound like fun. I think it's all a lot of work, though. And everything I'm trying to do, I'm trying to figure out things that I can do that allow me to still be productive on the comic and also, you know, be present. And I like that name, Stabby and the Robblecopter. Little did my friend Shane know when he uttered those words in probably 1996, 95, that someone would still be calling me Stabber McGee 30 years later. Mike is bringing the energy today. This is a draw stream, Rob. I hang out, I draw, and I just respond to whatever is said in the chat. And it works. And it's good. It's calming. It's relaxed. It's early. At least I talk to the chat. That doesn't always happen on a draw stream. Hanging out. Yes, hanging out. Mike, why are all your characters looking gay? Let's have a look. It doesn't look gay. It's not my preferred style, but I don't know. It's pretty manly. I mean, the exposed knees are a bit something, but it's Mediterranean. This guy looks pretty. This guy looks badass. If I came across him in the forest, I would think he would know how to handle himself. This guy, I mean, he's looking a bit more academic, a bit more learned. He just looks like he's, hunting pheasant out on the rocky outcrop. I wouldn't mess with this one. How is that gay? Bancroft likes lemon parties. What is the lemon party? Why are you meeting old men in the forest? Have you come across them on a party? You're in a troop, traveling yonder. You might come across men in the forest, have adventures. It's the way I envision it anyway. I almost saw a spoiler of The Jackal this morning, Rob. Oh, so excited. If anyone isn't, gotta watch The Jackal. It is so good. Oh, anyway, the last episode has just aired, so I'm going to watch it tonight with Mel. All right, I'll Google lemon party. I hope I won't be disappointed. Moving on. I was bitterly disappointed in all of you. Could have gone my whole life without knowing what that was. How would you rate The Jackal compared to Arcane? Arcane season 1 or season 2? Obviously a very different show, different style, different kind of show. But Arcane, Jackal season 1 shits on Arcane season 2. It really is good. Zed, 40% Zed said Lemon Party is less gay than Arcane. Well, from what I saw, I don't know. A Lemon Party's gay? Is that like a thing? Does it have to be gay? I didn't look too closely. I just saw there was a Cora. Someone said, I keep seeing the term lemon party. What is it? It's very gay? Okay. I'll take your word for it. I'm not going to research it anymore. That's the full extent of my research on the matter. Why are you gay? Why would a shit on it? We are really getting a deep dive into Bancroft's eccentricities. I had to think about how to say that word. I don't even know what you're talking about, Simo. You don't know me by now. You will never, never, never know me. Gotta keep an eye on the clock. I'm about to start work. It's old men group stuff. All right. I thought it's in the thing I saw, it was just old people. It didn't say old men, it said old people. Oh, look. If that's what you want to do in your twilight years, I'm not going to stop you. I'm not going to join you, but I'm not going to stop you. Reese says, crazy, I'm about to get off work. Time zones, man. We live on a big globe. Colonel Zaid says, beautiful work, Bancroft. Thank you. Someone appreciates what I do. Thank you, Jeremy. I'm putting in the highlights at the moment, these parts here. Don't need to do too much. They're going to be printing quite small, so. All I want is a little bit of effusive praise. He's also making a Merry Men banner. Bancroft is ending the stream soon so we can start work on the invitations for Camel, Rob, and Rod for his lemon retirement. These are the Merry Men. It's a costume party. Hey, you're the ones who introduced me to that term. I didn't bring it to you. I was here innocent. I was sitting here innocently, not even knowing what that was. Should we do a Christmas Camel Nights? I think we should. Yes. I think that would be a lot of fun. I think people would appreciate that. I can Christmas up my background a bit. We can do some festive activities. I think everyone would like that. He says, okay, I'll find a date. Excellent. As long as we can get the Grinch Rob in there to balance out the humor, I think it'll work well. Give Rob some coal. Poses are great. The dark shapes really carve out the forms. I've been really making an effort to add in shadows, which is something that I haven't really had the confidence to do previously. But, you know, like silhouettes, like a lot of these feet are just like shadows. I really like that when people do that in comics. And yeah, I'm making a conscious effort to actually do that and to like make the actual line art. Well, that looks cool too. Look at that. Make the actual line art sort of stand on its own. So I'm happy you agree. All right, everyone, that's going to be it. I got to go to work. Have a great day, night, wherever you are out there. And I'll see you tomorrow for another show after the Zaid Boys. But until then, bye.
Perth made an Australian video, and I wasn't even in it.
Emotional damage.